Hello, everybody. Welcome to Queer Games. Heck yeah, for today. I'm Luke. I love queer and indie games. I'm playing a bunch as part of the Queer Games bundle, which is hundreds of games by gay artists, queer artists around the planet. Well worth your time. Please check it out. It's on all of I think all of June and part of July of this year. Uh, and it's just one of my favorite things of the year, really. And I thought I'd just pick out some games and give them a go and just be entertained. Um, I mean, that was a pretty good intro, but it sort of started to run out of puff towards the end there. I don't really know what I'm doing, so let's get into the game. Today we're playing Miss Chocolate Eater by Knickknack PJ. Now, I normally I go into the game not knowing much about it because I really love to be surprised. But I guess over the years I've played quite a few games now, and despite my best efforts, I have slowly come to learn things about some devs, some of the games, for example, the dev names or the other games made by the devs. And this is one of those cases where I've let myself down because I actually remember some of the other games made by this dev that I played as part of the Queer Games Festival. Um, the two that really pop out for me were Pillar on Poppy Hills, which was just really nice, sort of introspective and a little bit dark kind of visual novel, but very beautiful to look at. Just very nice, very chill game to play. Well, chill is not the right word. Just very pleasing to look at. And then maybe one of my favorite games of last year, a game called Negative Space. Because my focus is on queer games, and I always think queer games kind of fall into two categories. There's sort of things about like what it's like to be like a organic being living a queer life, right? Where you're same-sex attracted, or you know, some variation on that, and the practicalities of that, like falling in love, meeting people, dealing with prejudice, just trying to live your daily life. But then on the other end of like queerness, there's this whole idea that like it's just strange and unnatural and turning stuff on its head, and like whatever is normal queer is not that. And so there's like this sort of queer games. There's this tiny little subset of like games that are just really strange and unusual and just play around with what it means, like play around with space and play around with games. They're very queer, you know. It may be in like the sort of original definition of the word. And Negative Space, which is the game that came out last year, very short game, only 5 minutes. It's a queer game. It was just like I was sort of going in expecting like just a wall of text, but actually it played around with that text in just really, really surprising ways. So when I saw this game, Miss Chocolate Eater, and saw who it was by, I was like, well, we have to play it. But also, I don't want to like build it up because one of the things I get out of this developer is that they do make a variety of different games, and so I don't expect everything to be Negative Space. Like just even looking at this right away, I'm thinking it's going to be a bit more traditional, sort of visual novel kind of thing. Let's begin. Oh, I think there's audio. Okay, that's good. I like a little bit of sound in the background, just because it gives a little bit of warmth to the whole thing, I think. There are many pleasures running this shop filled with dust. Okay, wait. So it's about a bitter. What is it? Miss Chocolate Bitter. Oh, Miss Chocolate Eater, but it's about a bitter person running a chocolate shop. I thought that meant maybe they liked bitter chocolate, but maybe it's like about their personality. I'm just trying to debate whether that inflects the way I read it. Okay. There aren't many pleasures running this shop filled with dust. Nobody comes to buy anything, and I'm left to my one pleasure I look forward to each day, my dear chocolates. But today the doorbell rings, and I'm annoyed I have to put this happiness away to help a customer. I love this pose already. I have the same hat. The most beautiful woman I've ever seen walks in wearing a floral dress. I find myself so angry at her figure, especially when she walks to my desk with that bouncy, confident stride. She told me, I was so tired of my boring old clothes, so I decided to wear this. It's so nice on my body, and I feel so beautiful. How stupid, how asinine. I hate how beautiful she looks because I look so boring next to her. I want her out of my sight, so I say, I wish I could wear what you're wearing. Okay, so I always want to do like the bad choice on stream, because bad choices mean good drama. Looks aren't everything. After all, isn't it what's inside that counts? What if people think you're vain? There's no way I could be as stupid as you. But she giggles and says, well, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, is it not? Until then, I'll just take this. And without purchasing anything, she steals a piece of chocolate from my box and disappears before I could blink. Oof. And yet, despite my fury, I stay silent. After all, I still have plenty of chocolates. I'm getting a real John Waters vibe off this a little bit. If you've ever seen a film called Pink Flamingos, like a low budget film from the 1970s out of kind of like Baltimore, a city in America, it's just got this kind of really lovely kind of cadence to it. It's very strange film, but like the characters are kind of like dialed up to 11, like you're having a dream. I'm getting that vibe a little bit. The next day, the same day, I'm left with the one pleasure I look forward to each day, my delicious chocolates. But before I could even choose one to eat, the doorbell rings and I'm disappointed I have to put my delectable choices away to help a customer. The most beautiful woman I've ever seen walks in wearing a straw hat. I find myself so angry at her smile, especially when she laughs when she talks. She told me, I was so tired of living the same every day, so I decided to travel. It's so nice to see the sights, and I feel like I'm free. I think we can see a bit more of her face, maybe. Oh, we can see the hat this time, instead of the dress. That's clever. How stupid, how asinine. I hate how bright her grin is under the shade of that hat. I want her out of my sight, so I say, it's better to stay home. After all, there's so many things to worry about. What if you get assaulted? There's no way I could be as stupid as you. But she giggles and says, well, who knows what the roads hold, and I'll just take one of these to the road too. And without purchasing anything, she steals a piece of chocolate from my box and disappears before I could cry. And yet, despite my sadness, I stay silent. After all, I still have plenty of chocolates, I think. We have people moving in next door. And I'm like, can they hear this grown age man reading out these like games about like bunnies and chocolates? Oh well, that's on them, I think. Day by day, I keep meeting these beautiful women. Day by day, I find my anger and sadness rising, especially when they steal my chocolates, but I could never take action against them. And suddenly today, with one chocolate left, the doorbell rings and I feel so fearful as the most beautiful woman I've ever seen walks up to me with a bounce and a smile. There are multiple scars all over her exposed skin, and yet she's still so happy and uncaring about her appearance as she talks to me. Oh, you're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen, but aren't you tired of living like this? Don't you want to do something other than run this dusty shop all by yourself? Quite the twist. I don't know what to say. There's nothing I could say. Was she flirting with me? Sweet words will do nothing to satiate my frustrations and fears, you know. She then glances down at my single piece of chocolate, and without thinking, Oh. Wait, let's save it. We might come back to this. Eat the chocolate, do nothing. Wait, she says, we're the most beautiful person. Eat the chocolate, do nothing. We're going to do nothing. I let her take the chocolate. She smiles and murmurs thank you before she quietly disappears. And now I have no chocolates left. And now I have nothing left. How could they do this to me? I didn't have much left in my life, but this shop and those chocolates, and they just kept stealing from me. Then again, everyone has always stolen from me, no matter what I did to prevent it. Now it's clear to me that the future will always be the same, no matter what this dumbass with scars and an ugly dress and hat has to say. And what can I even say? Even if I tried to say something, the dust is affecting my breathing, and it's hard to say anything at all, but I'm too scared to leave this place. So I'll just stay here and try to find something that will keep me happy. I hope I can find it. Interesting, interesting, interesting. There was a vibe to this game. We'll give it a second go, I think. Yes, okay, this is how I can tell it's a modern game because the number of social media links in the last, I don't reckon, 10 to 12 months has like tripled for people because we're going through a bit of a transition, as like some of the big sites fall down and there's like three or four popping up to replace them, but nobody knows which way to go. And all the algorithms are changing, so people are like, oh, I'm not getting the reach I once was because I don't want to pay to surface my content. Shouldn't just me sharing my art be enough? I think a lot of artists are grappling with that at the moment. Um, who knows where it'll land? How exciting! Okay, um, a few familiar names there. Okay, let's. Is it gonna go back to the menu for us? Oh, ending two of two, nothing left. What would you like to do? Oh, I've never seen this before. Restart game from first choice. That's brilliant. Okay, ending two of two, nothing left. Okay, let's try that again. I wish I could wear what you're wearing. I'd like to dress up too, but the dust in the shop could ruin my favourite dress. But she giggles and says, well, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, is it not? Until then, I'll just take this. Yes, we've read that. I like how it's greyed out the stuff we've already read. I mean, a lot of games do that. I'm not saying this game's got everything original. I think it might be the engine. Okay, wait, I'm just zooming through the ones we've already seen. Okay, already read. I wish I could travel like you, but I have to stay here and run this shop. But she giggles and takes one of my chocolates. I really like chocolates. Why, if you took my chocolates away, I'd be so sad. Ooh. Excuse me. Day by day, I keep meeting these beautiful women. Suddenly, with one chocolate left, the doorbell rings, and I feel so fearful as the most beautiful woman I've ever seen walks up to me with bouncing a smile. There are multiple scars. Oh, that was the other thing that I kind of didn't comment on the first time round. This is the second game of Queer Games Heck Yeah, like the current batch that I'm going through, that's kind of brought in like scarring as a vibe, or scarring as an element. I think it's very interesting. I don't know, like I kind of want to, I guess, be a bit delicate about the topic. But I feel like the developers have put it in their game, and so in a way they want us to engage with it. So what it means, what kind of, I'm trying to kind of get at what do they mean here by putting it in the game? Like, what's the idea that they've put here? I think it's that the woman behind the counter thinks these people are really beautiful and have no problems, and that it's, but actually, maybe other people. Where am I going with this? I don't know. Maybe it's possible to live a happy and fulfilled life even if you've had troubles in your past, maybe. Or even if you're having troubles at the moment, you can still, I don't know, still work through it a bit. Anyway, this is one of the reasons I love queer games, because they get you thinking. Also, it's interesting that I think the person with the scars is the one that challenges us to get out and about, I guess, and says that we're the most beautiful person they've seen. Maybe it's kind of implying that if we get out of our dusty old shop, even with our scars, we can be that beautiful person for someone else. That's a bit of a stretch. Eat the chocolate. Quiz boy. I stuffed the piece of chocolate into my mouth before she could reach for it. Before I could swallow, she grabs the sides of my face and puts her lips under mine. She steals the piece of chocolate and disappears with a giggle before I could process what happened. Oh, I mean, it's cute. Unless you really, really wanted that piece of chocolate. And now I'm absolutely livid. How dare they? How dare they? How dare they just waltz into my shop, tell me how wonderful their lives are, make me feel terrible about myself, and then steal the only things that make me happy. I can't sit here anymore, especially with their beautiful faces still seared into my mind. Oh wow! I put on my favourite floral dress and sun hat, not giving a heck about the scars all over my exposed skin. My anger is greater than my anxiety now, and I'm gonna find those girls who stole my chocolates and kiss them back. I don't know what I'll do when I find them. When I do, I'll give them a piece of my mind. Okay, what a great ending. I think I like the second ending a lot more. Wow. Alright, that's really good. Return to title screen. This is what I mean about Knickknack PJ, the developer of this game. There's always just a little bit of like a certain kind of circularness to it. Like the story always sort of comes back to itself a little bit. There's a little bit of like looping or narrative kind of callbacks. That's actually kind of just that little bit sophisticated, you know. It's very hard to make a game, and everyone's got different styles, and I think like 90% of games, queer games, and maybe even mainstream games, are very linear, you know. To bring in sort of other kind of storytelling elements is very interesting. Alright, that was Miss Chocolate Eater. Really solid little game that I think I'm going to be thinking about over the next few days. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.